Welcome back to another episode of The Road Chose Me. My name's Dan, and today we're in line to catch a ferry to hop across to Bruny Island. So Bruny Island is another little island just off the east coast of Tasmania. And so we've actually driven, I'm getting remiss in my map updates, we drove the whole east coast of Tassie. We just did some town jobs in Hobart, which is the biggest city on the island, 250,000 people. And we're catching a ferry to an island that's just over here off this coast. And so this island, it's about 50 kilometers long. It's not huge. We could drive to the bottom in an hour or something. There's some really beautiful beach driving. There's a narrow section where you move from the North Island to the South Island called the Neck. There's some unique wildlife. There's a couple of breweries we're excited about. Katie's excited about delicious oysters and seafood. So there's gonna be tons to see and do, some really great camping, some hiking. Let's get over to Bruny Island. Let's get the Jeep in on this adventure. Let's have fun. Here we go, Bruny Island in Tasmania.
Hey, so we were driving down the side of the road and we saw a sign for wood-fired bread, so check it out. There is a bread basket. Let's call it a side of the road bread basket. So if we go over here and we open up the latch, we've got all sorts of fresh bread. And it's actually still warm in this fridge, so I'm gonna definitely take a loaf. Looks amazing. Nice fresh bread. And then over here they've just written a little explanation of how you can pay. And we're gonna put our money right down here in the bottom. $7.50 for a loaf of bread. So it's fantastic. They also have chocolate covered Anzac biscuits, which is an Australian specialty, and some eggs. So it's really lovely. It's like a nice, small, quaint honor system, and I'm super excited. I think this is great.
So here we go, guys. This is pretty exciting. We're in the very southern tip now of Bruny. We drove down through that narrow section, the Neck, and now we get to drive on the beach. And so this is the first time in Australia, first time in a Gladiator that I've driven on the beach. And that's because in Victoria, it's actually illegal to drive on the beach. They just want to protect them. But here in Tasmania, it is possible in quite a few places. And I'm really looking forward to it. There's some parts of Australia, it'll be nothing but beach driving. So this will become a bit of a feature of the trip. But here in this little section on Bruny Island, this is just 3 kilometers long. And actually the sand is extremely firm. I didn't air down. And in fact, I don't even have the Jeep in 4-wheel drive. So as far as beach driving goes, this is about as introductory as it gets. And there were warning signs that said only do this at low tide. And from our reading of the tide tables, it is nowhere near low tide, but there still is an enormous big strip of beach sand. And it's pretty wet beach sand. So I think, the high tide must have come up and made all of this nice and firm. And there is softer stuff up higher, but I'm not going to go and mess around up there. They have birds here that nest in that sand. There's a lot of like delicate grasses and things that grow on the sand. So for me, I'm not interested in going up there and, tearing up the landscape. This is more about just getting from A to B, just transport. And the reason we're driving on the beach is because there's a campsite at the other end of it, then a beautiful little walk out to a lookout. So we're going to camp there for the night, camp at the end of Bruny Island, which should be stunningly beautiful. And then tomorrow we'll get up and start new adventures. But for now, rolling along the beach, this is gorgeous, and we're checking out the waves a little bit because we heard there's surf here sometimes on this beach. Today I'm gonna say no, nothing worth surfing, but we may even come back here. Bruny Island's so tiny. We'll cruise around today, do a few different things, and then maybe we'll camp here again tonight so we can check out the waves again. And actually right in front of me right now, I'm just looking, there's some people paragliding. I'll spin the camera around so you can see. I think they're paragliders, not kite surfers, but don't quote me on that, I'm no expert. Let's check out, one guy just landed, one guy's getting close to landing. So we've just set up camp here. This is one of the organised campgrounds on the island. I guess it's like a state park type of thing. It's $10 a night. There isn't really any wild camping on Bruny Island. You kind of can pay for like a high-end campsite or do this like a state park type of thing. So we've got the swag here in the foreground, got our chairs ready. And over here we're cooking dinner. And so we're slowly getting better at using the whole kitchen setup and we're really loving it. The way the fridge is mounted here is just so great. Obviously all the cutlery, we're really starting to put our most often used items up there. And of course our huge big prep board here. We really like to do kind of like a mise en place thing for dinner where one of us is over here chopping up all the veggies and the other one's manning the stove, you know, getting it all ready. And the dual burner stove, I'm starting to really love it compared to my old single burner. So to be able to do noodles and food at the same time, I know it sounds like a simple thing, but it is a bit of a game changer, especially when you're cooking for 2 people. And so Katie, what have you got on the go there? What's for dinner?
We're making a little bit of a stir fry. So we've got some tofu that we fried up, so it's nice crispy tofu. Then we have tons of veggies. We picked up some bok choy, which is nice because it like holds up well in the fridge for a few days. So we're gonna use that up, which would be pretty good. And then just in here we've got garlic and ginger and mushrooms and honey and soy sauce. And yeah, hopefully we'll top that with some sesame oil and some seeds, some peanuts, and hopefully it'll be delicious.
Sounds delicious to me. Great. And here we are just a few minutes later and this is what Katie has whipped up. And so Katie absolutely loves garnish on food. So we've got sesame seeds, peanuts and sprouts on top of our massive vegetable stir fry that's on noodles. This looks delicious. Thanks, Katie. So we're trying to walk along the beach to get to this beautiful lookout spot, and we just bumped into some people and they said because the tide's up a little bit, you're gonna get wet feet if you go out there. So instead, come through here, through all of these cabins and stuff. Check this out. This is absolutely stunning. Look how big these cliffs are above us. And then we get to cut through, I guess these are like shortcuts. So we're away from the water, we're not gonna get wet feet as we walk through these. I'm not gonna call it a cave, I'm gonna call it a chasm. This is unexpectedly cool. This beach is just breathtaking. A sea arch, a cool canyony thing, and now essentially a cave, obviously formed by the waves, and actually it goes in a lot further than you would think. This is really sweet. There's all these like formations in the rock, and it actually keeps going. I certainly can't fit down in there, but someone who is more intrepid than me would climb down in there. This beach is incredible.